My goal is that by the end of this video, you have a much better understanding of Upwork as a platform and each step in the journey from the time that you submit a proposal to a job on Upwork to the time that a client has hired you for that job on Upwork. And so in today's video, I'm going to break down each single step in that process and give you a few different bullet points on how to optimize each step so that you can sign more clients with Upwork. And if you don't know who I am, my name is Nico Hessel, and I've generated over $100,000 from Upwork in the last 12 months for both my own agency and my clients. And so first off, I'm just going to give you a quick overview of what the Upwork funnel is. And like I said, each step in this journey from the time that you submit a proposal to the time that a client has hired you. So the way we see it, it's a 4-part funnel. And so the very top of funnel is the first 300 characters of your proposal. And the ideal outcome is that the client clicks on this first 300 characters, they read the rest of your proposal, and then they move to step 2. And the reason that this is the very top of funnel is because when you submit a proposal to a job on Upwork, the client can only see the first 300 characters of that proposal, as well as like your profile picture, your skill tags, and a few other, small minor elements. And so that's the reason that is top of funnel. Then, like I said, after that, the ideal outcome is they click on that little preview and they read the rest of it. So we see the next step as the rest of your proposal. And the ideal outcome here is that the client reads your entire proposal and they either send you a message or they click on your profile to learn more about you, which is probably the most common step. Then they move to step number 3 in the funnel, which is your profile, right? And so the goal here is that your profile builds up enough trust with that client on Upwork that they send you a message. And once they send you a message, they enter bottom of funnel, which is simply appointment setting and sales. So the ideal outcome here is you consistently schedule calls with clients, people who are messaging you on Upwork, and you consistently close deals with these people on Upwork. And so that is essentially the Upwork funnel in short. And here are a few bullet points, and don't worry, we're going to go much more in depth on each single step throughout the rest of this video. But just to give you a quick summary of, a quick preview of what's to come. The first 300 characters of your proposal, so how you're going to optimize those is personalization, social proof, and just making sure there are no grammatical mistakes. Then the rest of your proposal, how to optimize that. You want to have a clear call to action. And again, don't worry, we're going to go through all of this in a lot more detail later on in the video, but you want to have a clear call to action. You want to include social proof, and you want to make sure that your overall messaging is resonating with your clients. And then for your profile, you're going to optimize that by including social proof, so reviews, testimonials, case studies, video testimonials, big clients you work for, your years of experience, etc. So social proof, video introductions, and I'll teach you how to film that later on, and then well-written, relevant, written introductions, right? And so each profile has a written introduction, and again, we'll cover that as well. And then in terms of optimizing appointment setting and sales, which is the bottom of the funnel, speed is a big thing, so just make sure you're responding to these leads quickly. Make sure you're asking them to get on calls because that's how you're going to close more deals. Memorize your sales presentation and record all of your sales calls because if you record them, then you can watch them, you can reiterate, you can improve, and you can continuously go through that cycle. And so again, we're going to go through this much more in detail later on in the video, but that's kind of a quick preview as to what is to come. So now let's break down the very top of funnel and how to optimize it. And so step 1, like we already covered, is the first 300 characters of your proposal and the preview. And so the ideal outcome is that the client clicks on this preview and reads the rest of your proposal. So when a client posts a job on Upwork, they get often a bunch of applicants. And all of the applicants and proposals, same thing, look like this. And so obviously I blurred out this person's profile picture and their name, but you can see here that the preview is your profile picture, your name, your title, your hourly rate, the amount of money you've earned on Upwork, your job success score, and any badges you have, as well as your skill tags, and then the first 300 characters of your proposal, right? And so this is what we're going to be optimizing for top of funnel. And it's really important that you guys see this because if you can understand how Upwork looks from the client's perspective, from the client's point of view, then we can truly understand how to optimize it so we can get these clients to do what we want, which is message us and hire us, right? That's what we want. And so How to optimize the first 300 characters of your proposal. Well, first off, you're going to want to find the job poster's first name. And you'll notice sometimes I refer to them as the job poster, sometimes as the client, but it's the same thing. It's the person who's posted this job on Upwork looking for help. So we want to find their name. And so how do we do that? Well, before we apply to the job, go into the client's recent history section. And so if you click on the job on Upwork, you'll see that a little pop-up on the right-hand side comes up. Simply scroll down and click on the client's work history section, and then search for feedback from the freelancer to the client that mentions the client's name. And so then obviously once you find that, then you'll start your proposal with, hey, and then the client's first name, right? That's pretty simple. Basically, every single time a contract is ended on Upwork, the freelancer is prompted to give feedback to the client, and the client is prompted to give feedback to the freelancer. And so if you go into their work history section, and they have hired multiple people on Upwork, you should be able to find at least one review where the freelancer is giving the review to the client and they mention the client's name, right? So they might say, hey, working with Dave was unbelievable. It was great. And then you can know that the client's first name is Dave, and you can start your proposal with, hey, Dave, right? And as a quick side note, if you just are more of a visual learner and you want to see how to find the job poster's first name, I have a very quick video on my channel. It's like 2 minutes. It'll show you exactly how to do that. Cool. Next, how do we optimize the first 300 characters? Well, we want to include some form of social proof. And so, like I already mentioned, social proof can be a variety of different things. But these are the first quick questions I like to ask myself are like, do you work with any well-known companies, right? Like if you work with Starbucks, Netflix, and Google, then obviously you're going to want to mention that in the first 300 characters of your proposal. Because remember, guys, the goal here is to get to click on the preview and read the rest. And so we want to provide some credibility, some social proof. So do you work with any big companies? Do you have clients in multiple industries, right? If you've worked with clients from 10 different industries, then mention that, because again, that provides credibility. And even like years of experience. If you have more than 3 or 4 years of experience offering the service you're offering on Upwork, mention that, because it gives you lots of credibility and it's going to make people click on this preview and read the rest of your proposal. And the last step on optimizing the first 300 characters is personalization. Personalization is a must. You need to be personalizing your proposals. If you use a complete copy and paste proposal, it will not work. You will not convert nearly as many people as you could be. Even if you just personalize the first 2 sentences of your proposal, a lot more people are going to click on it and you'll get a lot more messages. So simply just read the job post from start to finish and include relevant details mentioned in the job post, right? So if a person posts a job looking for a software developer for their JavaScript project, then you can mention just that. You can say, hey, client's first name, I'm confident I can help you with your JavaScript project and be your software developer, or whatever it is, right? But just mention relevant information. And as a quick side note, if they do mention the type of company they are, mention that as well. All right. Next is the rest of your proposal, right? Because remember, once the client clicks on the preview, they're going to read the rest of your proposal. And the ideal outcome in this step is that the client reads the entire proposal and they either send you a message or they click on your profile to learn more. And most commonly, they're going to click on your profile, but we'll get to that next. And so how to optimize the rest of your proposal? Well, first off, you want to have lots of social proof in here. So we covered this a little bit already, but there's a lot more different ways that you can include social proof in the second half of your proposal opposed to the first 300 characters, right? And so a few quick questions. Do you work with any well-known companies? Do you have clients in multiple industries? How much experience do you have? But also, do you have written reviews? Do you have testimonials? Do you have a client interview or a video testimonial? Those are great things to put a link to at the bottom of your proposal, right? Even a written testimonial or a review, you can put that at the bottom of your proposal. And you can just say, P.S. If you're interested in hearing, you could say you might be interested in reading this review from one of my happy clients, and then put, in quotes, the testimonial you got, right? Because that includes that has social proof, and that's going to make people want to message you. And that's the goal with this step, is that they either message you or click on your profile to learn more. Right. And so other forms of social proof can be like we said, case studies, video testimonials, written testimonials. Even if you have lots of years of experience or you work with big companies, go through these questions and then just think about this from the client's perspective. What offers credibility? Maybe if you're a software developer, maybe you know how to code in 15 different languages. Mention that in your proposal because it does provide credibility. And the goal of social proof is just to increase trust with the client, right? We want to increase trust. So that's the first way you're going to optimize the rest of your proposal. The second way is you're going to have a clear call to action. So again, this is where most people go wrong. Most people don't have a clear call to action on Upwork, or they have multiple and they're confusing. We want to make this very simple and very easy for the client to follow. And if we think about this from the client's perspective and kind of like think about their journey, if a client posts a job on Upwork, oftentimes these jobs get 20, 30, even 40 or 50 proposals. And so if a client's reviewing all the proposals, they may click on one, read the whole thing, then click on another, read the whole thing, then click on another, read the whole thing. And we want to interrupt this pattern. We want them to read ours and then read our call to action and then click on our profile or message us. And so the call to action should show our interest without being desperate. We like to frame it as a question, and we should only have one. And so here's an example of one of my favorite call to actions. You want to make sure you write this down. This has worked unbelievably well and helped us close hundreds of thousands of dollars in deals from Upwork. We like to say, that being said, I'd love to learn more about you and your project. Is there a time this week or next week that you're free for a quick 20-minute Zoom call? Right? That is super clear. It's extremely clear. We're framing it as a question, right? And the reason we do that is because psychologically, if you ask them a question, it makes them think of a response, right? That's the goal. We want them to say, oh yeah, I am free for a 20-minute call on Thursday. Let me message him, right? So something along those lines is a really great call to action. And then lastly, speak your client's language. And so this is something that should be obvious, but most people, again, get this wrong. And so if you're a software developer, you're going to use very different language in your proposals than if you are a social media manager, right? Because software development is incredibly complicated. There's lots of different languages of code, lots of platform, like it's very complicated, whereas social media management, for the most part, is not incredibly complicated, right? Just by its nature. And so in your proposal, if you are a software developer, you should be using lots of technical language. You should be talking about the languages of code that you can, that you're comfortable with, that you're fluent in. You should be talking about platforms you work on. Do you specialize in React.js? Like, right? Are there different things, JavaScript, CSS, like whatever? You should be speaking your client's language. And so the first step to this is is it technical language? Are there like industry phrases that are very common? Like for social media management, you would probably be talking, more about creativity and like graphics, videos, right? But like that's the first part. And the second piece to speaking your client's language is knowing and understanding their pain points, right? And so if you are like I said, if you're a social media manager, then you can understand that your client's pain points, well, they probably don't have the time to actually do these designs and posts themselves, right? Especially if it's like a small business, like it's the owner who's going to be hiring you, and they probably know that they need to do this, but they also know that they do not have the time for it, right? And so like if you can understand that and truly, truly understand your client's pain points on Upwork, then you can use those in your proposal, right? And so you can say, if you're a social media manager, I can save you 10 hours a week and get you 50 followers. And that's super important. And so that is how you guys are going to optimize the rest of your proposal. And so moving on now to step 3 in the funnel is going to be your profile, right? Because remember, the ideal outcome from step 2 was that they clicked on our profile or sent us a message. But in reality, 90% of people are going to click on your profile to learn more. And so the ideal outcome for step 3 is going to be that your profile builds up enough trust with these clients so that they send you a message. Very, very simple. And we do this in a variety of ways. Just as a reminder, this is where we are in the funnel. So the first way is that you're going to want to film a video introduction. Now, video is by far the best way to build trust with prospects because they can actually see your face, right? Like think about it. You guys watching me on YouTube are getting to know me and you're developing a human connection to me. You can see my face. You can, see how I speak. You can listen to my language patterns. You're just overall getting to know me as a person through these videos. And compare that to like reading a few of my tweets, right? It's very different. And so video introductions are by far the best way to build trust with prospects because again, they're going to develop an actual human connection to you. They're going to know that you're not just some robot. The likelihood that you scam them is a lot less significant once they can see your face and realize you're a real person and all of that stuff. And so there are 2 strategies that we teach our clients to film these video introductions. Strategy 1 is going to be to just pop up a camera and film a 60-second to 2-minute video and just talk to the camera, introduce yourself, who you are, what your name is, the services you offer. You can talk about like anything that makes you unique, and overall just give kind of like a brief introduction to who you are as a person and the services you offer. That's option 1. Option number 2 is that you film a 30-second to 60-second introduction. Again, just briefly mentioning your name, who you are, what you do, the services you offer, and then transitioning into showing off examples of your work. So showing off video testimonials, case studies, your portfolio, right? All these different things can really help build trust as well, especially if you have a very visually stimulating service, right? And so like you can show off examples of your websites that you've built, of even like, social media management, video edits, like anything that's very visually appealing, you can show examples of. And if you have video testimonials, you can play those. And again, you can get pretty creative with it. But with option 2, you're just briefly introducing yourself and then using either a tool like Loom, like I am right now, to review examples of your work, or just editing, having some nice fancy edits in there and then showing off testimonials, your portfolio, case studies, things like that. There's no difference between option 1 and option 2 in terms of how well they work. They both work very well. The one caveat I do have is that if you are a video editor, I would highly, highly recommend you go with option 2 because it's going to be another opportunity for you to show off your video editing skills, right? Cool. The next way to optimize your profile is to include social proof. And so hopefully you guys are seeing by now, this is a very, very common theme. And it's not the end of the world if you don't have social proof, but it does help pretty significantly, right? And so, like I said, there still are ways to get around this. But if you don't have social proof, or if you do have social proof, then you may want to make sure to include it. And so examples of social proof are like written reviews, testimonials. You can request testimonials from past clients on Upwork. So even if you're brand new to Upwork and you don't have any written reviews, you can still request a testimonial. It's just in a different section. So scroll a little bit down on your profile, past your portfolio, click the plus button next to testimonials, and you can request that. Get a few of those on your profile. That'll help you out a lot, especially if you're brand new to Upwork and you don't have reviews. Cool. Next, so like create case studies, feature them in your portfolio section, get a client interview, right? If you've done an excellent job with your client, ask them if it's okay if either they film you a video testimonial or if you do a quick 2 or 3 minute client interview with them, right? If you do a good job, most people will say yes to this. And then include those in your profile. It builds so much trust. And the next way you can optimize your profile is by creating a dense, well-written introduction. So these should be at least 1,500 characters long, go into a lot of detail on the services you offer, the experience you have. You can include reviews in this, get creative with it, introduce yourself as well. Like a great way is to talk about how you got started, offering the service. So maybe you worked with your family business for a long time to help them grow their business. And that's how you got first started video editing. And now you offer it to all businesses, right? Like each of you have a unique story. So you should be sharing it. Share it in your proposal, share it in your profile, right? It makes you unique. It makes you stand out and it builds trust with your clients. I promise you it builds trust with them. Cool. And then the other quick side note here is like, if English is not your first language, I highly recommend using Grammarly for all your writing. Because if you are making grammatical mistakes in either your profile or your proposals, clients are not going to be responding to you. It's going to really hurt your message rate, your response rate, your viewed proposal rate, pretty much everything. So highly recommend Grammarly. I think they're free as well. So check it out. Cool. Step 4 is appointment setting and sales. So the ideal outcome here is obviously that you're going to book consistent meetings and close consistent deals on Upwork. All right, we want all you guys to be making a bunch of money from this. So as a quick reminder, we're at bottom of funnel at this point. So I'm going to go break this down into 2 parts. Part 1 is appointment setting. Part 2 is going to be sales. So for appointment setting, there are a few different tricks that you can use to basically get more people to book a meeting with you who have messaged you. And so the first thing is simply respond to prospects as soon as possible. This is really simple, guys, but this will make a massive impact, right? Because think about it again from the client's perspective. If I'm a client and I send messages to 5 different freelancers and one of them responds right away, and I can have a conversation with that freelancer in like 3 minutes and then get on a call with them tomorrow, compare that to the person who takes like 1 or 2 days to respond. I might have already hired someone by the time they respond, right? So like speed is king. And so the faster you respond, the more meetings you're going to get, the more deals are going to close, period. No exceptions. Easy way to do this, download Upwork on your phone, just turn on notifications. Really, really simple, really easy. And then just, again, like get in a habit of like, as soon as you wake up, like check Upwork really quick. Like, again, these are simple habits, but they do make a big impact. The next way is that you are going to ask for the meetings. So I know, again, this probably sounds really simple, but most people, when I look at their Upwork accounts, and I've worked with dozens and dozens of freelancers and companies on Upwork, most of them don't do this. Most of them are terrible at appointment setting, and I don't want you to be one of them. And so first way, speed is king. Respond to the messages quickly. The second way is you're going to want to ask for the meeting. And so if someone sends you a message on Upwork, they're typically going to fall into one of two categories. Category number one is they simply answered our call to action in our proposal. If you remember from earlier, that's kind of the one of the goals, one of the ways to optimize the rest of your proposal is to have a clear call to action, asking them to get on a call with us. And so again, people who message you will fall into two categories. Number one, they'll just respond to your call to action. So they might say like, yes, I'm free on Thursday. Let's get on a call. Or two is they're going to respond to your proposal asking you questions. So they'll send you a message with maybe a couple questions in them. The goal here is not to provide an incredibly long, in-depth answer that answers all their questions and gets rid of all their fears. Like that's not what we want to do at all. We want to give them an answer to their questions. And you're going to notice like oftentimes these will be around price. And so my favorite thing is you want to give them a general answer to one of the questions and just say that in order to give them a more specific, in-depth answer, you're going to need more information from them and then ask them if they can get on a quick call with you. And again, frame this as a benefit to them. So for example, if someone says to me, Nico, I love your proposal. How much do you charge? I would simply say, hey, Mr. Client, thank you so much for sending me a message. I really appreciate it. Our pricing for social media management ranges from $500 per month to $2,000 per month, depending on the exact services that we're offering, how many posts per week, etc. In order to give you an accurate quote, I need to learn a little bit more about your goals and what you're trying to accomplish, via hiring me. Are you free on Thursday for a quick 10-minute call so I can give you that accurate quote, right? Frame it as a benefit at the end, right? And so it gives them a general answer. We don't want to piss them off or make them mad. Like answer their question, be general about it though. And then again, ask for the call. And then as a quick side note, people buy from people they like. So if this person keeps asking you questions, just answer them. Don't be like too pushy. Don't be like making it sound like very needy. Like just be cool about it. Ask for the meeting, but don't push super hard. The next one is going to be creating a system for follow-ups. So if someone ghosts you on Upwork, that means for those of you who are not familiar, if someone sends you a message and then you reply to them and then that person stops messaging you, that would be them ghosting you. And so obviously these people are already interested in our services. So we want to find a way to get them to message us again. So you're going to want to create a follow-up system for, you're going to want to create a follow-up system, right? A system for follow-ups. And so create a sequence, set a time frame for each time you would follow up. So for example, if you have not heard back from a prospect in 3 days, then you can send them this message and then you would template it. And then if you don't hear back from 5 more days, then send them another message, right? And so you can create your own sequence for that. And then just follow up with all people who ghost you. Some of them will respond back. It will happen. Like this has happened for us. We've tested, I promise, we've tested all of these strategies. So everything I'm giving you is not like a theory. Like these are strategies we have tested and we have used to generate tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? And if you do want more info on appointment setting, I have a nice YouTube video right here. It's not too long, pretty simple. It's got a lot of views on it, so go check it out. And the last step for Upwork and how to optimize the customer journey is going to be sales calls, right? So obviously the ideal outcome here is that you close the deal and they hire you and then you're making lots of money. That's what I want for all you guys on Upwork, just to sign clients and make a bunch of money. And so how do we do that? How do we make consistent sales on Upwork? Well, first off, we're going to want to learn to develop strong rapport, right? Because these people already know they need your service. So you don't need to spend an hour educating them about what you do and the technology. Like you don't need to do that. They know they need your service. They've taken time out of their day to post a job seeking help. They know they need your service. Don't spend too much time trying to convince them, right? you're going to want to learn to develop strong rapport and get people to like you. Like, this is a skill. So practice small talk, pay attention to body language and tonality. Again, like, record your calls so that you can look back on them. And then maybe if you make a joke and the person really they like it, and they buy from you, rewatch that video, the recording, and see like, oh, I made that joke and he thought it was really funny and then he bought. I should make that joke again, right? Watch the recordings, consistently improve, and I promise you, you will close a bunch of deals on Upwork. The next step is going to be creating a simple sales framework. Practice it 2 to 3 times per day till you have it fully memorized. Record all of your sales calls, watch them, keep improving. This is really simple. I actually have a completely free guide on Upwork and just kind of how I've made a lot of money with it. And it includes a completely free full sales framework in it. And so I'll have a link in the description to download that. Again, it's completely free. It's a free resource. So you can check that out if you'd like. Then memorize. The other step for sales is just memorizing your objection handles. So for the most part, like we already spoke about, you're only going to get 2 objections on Upwork. Number 1, they're going to say they need to talk to other freelancers or other agencies or other people who have applied, or they want to think about it. Same thing, same category. Or number 2, they're going to tell you you're too expensive, right? Depending on what country you're in, this may or may not happen. Likely if you're in the US or the UK or Canada, like, people will tell you you're too expensive. It's going to happen sometimes. It's not going to happen all the time. Upwork can obviously be wildly profitable for B2B businesses still in America. You're just going to get some people that tell you it's too expensive, which is fine, right? But again, depending on your industry, depending on your industry and country you're in, you may or may not get this one. But regardless, memorize answers to both of them, right? And then just know that when someone gives you these objections, know what to say. And that is all I've got for this video, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Again, my goal is that you guys got a very clear idea of the Upwork customer journey and each step in this process, from the time you submit a proposal on Upwork to the time that they click on the preview and they read your proposal, and then they click on your profile. And I teach you guys how to optimize that. And then we want them to click and message us, and we told you guys how to optimize that process, right? And so again, my goal is that you guys have a much, much better understanding of Upwork as a platform as a result of this video. And so that is all I've got, guys. Make sure to subscribe if you did like this. It really helps out the channel, and it costs you absolutely nothing, and it would be a huge help for me. That being said, I appreciate you guys watching and sticking to the end, and I'll see you in the next video.